Hey guys, here we are. Many of you are already ice fishing. In Ohio, we're kind of just starting to get underway, and I get a lot of questions about, what rod do you use? And I've been using G Loomis rods for a very long time. Way before they even made ice rods, I used to make my own out of their blanks. And the reason is most of the ice rods that you're going to see out for walleye fishing now are actually solid carbon or graphite. And that's great, but they're not as sensitive as tubular graphite. They're going to be much heavier. So G Loomis on the IMX Pros are a tubular graphite, and it allows you to kind of have a much more parabolic bend on some of the rods too. This is an IMX Pro G Loomis. You notice the guides here can flex around quite a bit, which is really nice. They actually have like a fly style guide on the front, and these will fold right up. These are high dollar. These are really nice guides, but you can knock the ice out a lot easier. So we have a really light guide, but a large frame, so we can knock the ice out if you're fishing inside, outside, or whatever it is. You're not going to get caught up on that. But again, super sensitive. That's the big thing with these. Got a little Tennessee handle here. This is a model 392. So this is kind of my all-around, the thing that I use the most, bar none. When you get really heavy, on Erie and other places where you're fishing current, you're going to have to go up to maybe 3/4 ounce lures, or even if you have a 1/2 ounce lure and you got that thing chock full of minnows, that thing maybe is over 3/4 or even an ounce, and you may need a little less tip bounce, and that's where their model 413 comes in. That's a little heavier rod by some people's standards, pretty darn heavy. Some guys for lake trout and stuff will use that too, but between those two, that's 99% of the actual rod that I'm using for my walleye ice fishing. Then the other thing is the reel. You can double task these and use them, in the open water. Some of these I'll use for pan fishing and such. We just have to cut that thing off there in the open water time. But this is a Vanford. I also have some of the old Stradics, and they work really good. But the key is the 1,000 size. So I'm going to get a little bit bigger spool so that line comes off a lot nicer. And this actually has a lot slower ratio than some of the other reels, which is key because in the wintertime, you almost never can slow down enough. It just is what it is. We all get jumpy, and you've got to slow down in the wintertime. A lot of times for walleye fishing, you got to slow down. Wintertime, really got to slow down. So 1,000 size is what I prefer for that. And then as far as line goes, this is some P-Line CX Premium. So I almost always use a mono, or this is in case called a copolymer, because it has a coating like a fluorocarbon type coating on it, which is really nice for giving you less visibility. And you may say, well, how do you have a high-vis line and have less visibility? This is not opaque. It's transparent. If you look at it on a camera, you can actually see through it. So I'm going to be able to see this. I keep it away from the heater. I can see the line angle. I can see bites. I always use the high-vis line for almost all of my spinning stuff, even in the open water. And that's a big deal in having a small diameter. So this is 10-pound CX Premium P-Line, and that's what I use for majority of the things. It's not super limp, but it's not stiff either. A little bit of line dressing, something like some silicone or something like that will help reduce the amount of water that's absorbed up there too and make it a lot easier. And another reason I really like that copolymer or mono setup is braid is just brutal, especially if you're fishing outside. It freezes up. A majority of them do very quickly. Now when we come down, I've just got a couple foot leader of line because I do go down to the clear stuff, a little heavier. This is P-Line Shinsei. I realize you probably can't see it, but that's because that's what fluorocarbon is supposed to do. You don't see it. The Shinsei leader material is super high quality. I'm using generally 10 or 12 pound test in that. It's just really good stuff. There is a big difference when you're using a true leader line versus a fluorocarbon line that you would spool up with. If you have both in your hands, you'll, I think, even see the difference immediately. Now, as far as connection wise, using just a little snap here. I think this is a size 0 VMC. And then we've got that little swivel that we're making the connection with there, and it's a size 12. So really small terminal is always key on that, less to affect things. These fish are obviously inspecting your bait a lot more than they are in the open water periods. And this setup is just going to be pretty much my all-around deal with very little changes for when I'm walleye fishing. The other thing I'd like to do is protect this investment because these are things that you're going to have forever. You take care of these, you shouldn't have to buy a bunch of these. I got some really old rods that I'm still using. And so we've got the greenback here by Lakewood. And so these kind of basically you can just drop right in. They're very adjustable. And then we've also got storage. So we can put our vaults in there, we can put utility boxes in there, we can put our wallets in there. Pretty much this is my storage deal. I actually have a couple clips on the back of my snowmobile here where we just hook this right to it, and that can stay right there. It's almost like a mobile office. Take that off so stuff doesn't get stolen, put it in your shack, whatever it is. So lots of different things to consider. Hopefully you guys stay safe, be smart, ice fishing. That's what we're doing now.